Dave Palumbo, and I'm about to give you a little glimpse into my world. This is my life. It's another day in my life, and we're here in my kitchen preparing to take another trip up to Dr. Blau's. We have some more evaluations for him to do and some more updates up there in Westchester. I'm making one of my quick meals. I wish I would have shown you how I made it, but I put my rice, my minute rice, into bowls, into a ceramic bowl. I don't use plastic anymore because I hear the plastic goes into the food. I put my minute rice, brown minute rice in here. I add my water, put it in the microwave, 6 minutes, comes out. I actually put a few frozen peas in there. Throw it on a plate, put a little sea salt on it. I got my biggest discovery, pink salmon, wild salmon by Bumblebee. This is wild, okay? You don't really get wild quite. You hear my dogs bark in the background. I put a packet in here, mix it in. Now what I do is I go over here, I get my lettuce. My favorite is arugula. I don't know if you guys have tried arugula, but it's fantastic. It has a really good taste. It's better than salad. I get an arugula like herb blend. You have some other stuff in there. And what I do is I'll pull out some of it. I'll make like a salad on top of the salmon and the rice. And what I'll do is I'll get my macadamia nut oil, Species Nutrition, and I'll add a little of that. About 2 tablespoons worth. Okay. A little more salt. I like salt, as you can tell. And a little pepper. And I got my alkalinized water that I already poured out. Fill my cup. I got a little Bragg's apple cider vinegar here. Very good for you. Keep your acidity level down in your body. Remove some toxins. Put about a teaspoon of that in my water. Believe it or not, it doesn't taste bad. You'd be surprised. And I'm ready to eat. So I'm going to eat, we'll load up, get in the car, and we're going to head up to Westchester. Okay, we're back here at Dr. Mordecai Blau's office in White Plains, New York. And Dr. Blau, the response we got from the last little installment we did here of My Life was so positive, and people wanted to just know more and more. And I know that since you are the gynecomastia expert, I figured I want to get a slightly more difficult case for you to evaluate. Jeff really didn't have any gynecomastia, so I said, let me bring you a more difficult case, someone who had it done prior to visiting you by another surgeon, maybe didn't get such a great job, has some left, and needs you to evaluate what needs to be fixed. Because you said to me, I think, 50% of what you do is fixing other plastic surgeons' problems?
Not 50%, 25%, 20-25. Yeah, recurrence in gynecomastia, it's unfortunately, it's pretty common. According to the literature, there is between 10 and 35%. And most of the recurrences are on people that had just liposuction. But there is also a significant amount of recurrences in people that had the liposuction and excision of the gland.
Now, Jeff Magic is an interesting case because he didn't even have a plastic surgeon perform his surgery. He had a general practitioner. Have you ever heard of that?
General surgeon. Yeah. I had a few, but I must say most of them are done by plastic surgeons.
Is that I mean, just for the people out there watching this who might be considering the surgery, I mean, you don't really want to have a general surgeon do this surgery because it's really requires an expert touch, so to speak.
Yeah, I would say in general it's preferable that the board-certified plastic surgeon is going to do it. And a plastic surgeon, of course, that has experience with gynecomastia.
Is that the most important aspect, gynecomastia experience?
Absolutely. It is the most important aspect. And I must say that there are only very few gynecomastia cases in the U.S., about 18,000 a year, compared to breast augmentation that there are 500,000 a year.
That's a much bigger business.
And therefore, not every plastic surgeon has enough experience with gynecomastia surgery.
How many do you do per year?
I do over 200, maybe even over 250 every year.
And what does a typical plastic surgeon do?
According to the American Society of Plastic Surgery, there are like 6,000 or 7,000 board-certified plastic surgeons, and if you'll calculate, if 18,000 are done a year, and let's say it's 6, means a typical plastic surgeon does 3 gynecomastia cases a year.
Per year?
Per year.
You probably do more than that per week.
Yeah, per day I do sometime more than this. Like today I did 3 cases.
Did you really 3 cases today?
Yesterday I did 4. So
you've already exceeded the most of the gynecomastia cases in all the other surgeons.
That's it. I would say a plastic surgeon that does more than 50 a year has a better experience. But unfortunately, there aren't many plastic surgeons that do more than 50 a year.
Obviously, we've talked about this before. Removing the entire gland is very important, especially in a bodybuilder.
Absolutely. Sometimes it's very deceiving. Sometimes, especially in bodybuilders, sometimes when you see a person, you think, oh, he has a small gland, and then once you go inside, and once I examine him, I know that the gland, the amount of glandular tissue is a lot more than than the person thinks he has. And that's a matter of experience, Once you do a lot of cases, it's easier for me to evaluate it. But usually with bodybuilders, I do excision of the glandular tissue, means the breast tissue or the gynecomastia tissue, and rarely there is a need to do liposuction, if ever. I do very, very few of them. It's
mostly gland. And once the gland is removed completely, the important point is that it doesn't come back because there's no tissue. If you leave a little in there, it can grow back, obviously.
That's right. You have to leave a little behind the areola. You have to leave about between 2 and 5% of the gland behind the areola in order to have some support. But you have to be careful to excise between 95 and 98%. Which is
a very large amount in the gland.
And with bodybuilder, also the nice thing about bodybuilder that the amount of fat, the percentage of fat, of skin fat is very, very low. So you really don't have to do liposuction, and the chance to have depression in bodybuilder is extremely small.
Now, do surgeons make mistakes ever by maybe cutting some of the muscle out or maybe not evenly removing the gland? Is that a problem? Because I know Jeff, and I'm sure he's going to tell you this in a few minutes when he shows you when you do an examination, he has a slight indentation on the side that he did get done.
Yeah. I mean, usually it's not the muscle because the muscle is deep. The muscle, it happens sometimes, but that's rare. Usually it's unevenly. You cut part of the gland, you leave another part, and you don't take it in as one unit. I usually try to take the gland as large as it is as one unit.
Very important point. So you take the whole gland out in one shot. You're not snipping pieces all over the place.
That's it, in one shot.
What's the advantage of that, and what's the disadvantage of not doing that?
The advantage of this that after you don't leave any glands behind, and you have less bleeding, you don't have to choose and pick what to take, what not to take. Whatever you see, I mean, you just have to excise in one piece.
I've never seen it because you get out of a tiny hole this big, you get this monster gland, you work it out somehow.
Absolutely.
I see you pulling it with tweezers and teasing it out.
Yeah, I would say the incision would be about 1 inch, in rare cases more than 1 inch. And the gland sometime might be 10 inches in length and 5, 6, 7 inches
so it's like you're removing an implant as opposed to putting it in. That's the size of it.
That's right. But the skin is also elastic, so you can remove it and you can fold the gland. That's how you can remove a very large gland with a very, very small incision.
Well,
I also want to say something. The choice of incision is very important. Also, the way you do it, is important. The way you do it in the chest, and the location of the incision is important. And most of the plastic surgeons, we do it subareolas, under the areola,
under the nipple,
under the nipple, and it's going to be about 1 to 1.5 inch. I saw, unfortunately, I think about 800 to 1,000 new patients a year with gynecomastia, and some of them already had surgery, and you see incision in many places, including the axillary, under the armpit, and which is not a good area to have,
No.
because there even a small incision that may be half an inch or less is very noticeable.
Right.
Unlike the incision under the nipple, that it's a very good area as far as healing.
I have a small areola, and I have no scar when you did it. I mean, people could take a look,
Yeah.
and you can see there's nothing. You can't tell. There's absolutely no scar noticeable. And the countless other people, friends of mine that you've done, have no scars. So obviously, you have the right touch, and that's important because you know what? I've seen guys with a scar extends past the areola, and it's horrible.
That's it.
It's a nightmare. I mean, you got that for life. There's nothing you can do.
Oh
about
yeah,
that, right?
absolutely. You cannot revise the scar. Always you're going to have a scar. So basically, when I do the surgery, obviously when you have a scar, but the scar it's inconspicuous, it's not prominent, and it's hard to see it. And I must say the reaction I get from people is that, like my family or my new girlfriend, they don't even know I did it. So I would say 99% of the time, if you do the incision in the right place and the right way, it's very, very low key. I would say it's not prominent.
Right. Well, let's take a look at Jeff and see what's going on, because he's very unhappy. I wanted him to come up here for you to see him and to see what you can do, because you know when people are unhappy about the way their chest looks, it messes up their mental state. And we don't want Jeff to be any more messed up mentally than he might already be. So let's bring him in here and take a look, and I want you to evaluate what's going on.
Oh, absolutely. I'm glad to do it.
Dr. Blau?
Yeah, you can come in.
Jeff Ferriola.
Hi, it's Dr. Blau. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Okay, you can sit actually.
Okay.
Okay, Jeff, let me ask you first a few questions, and then you can tell me. I understand from my secretary that you already had the surgery. How many years ago?
Roughly, I'd say 10, but it was probably less, probably about 7 or
Okay, that's okay. So you had it quite a few years ago, and you had just unilateral at that time. You had only, I understand, one side, yeah?
Yes, that's
So
correct.
which side you had?
left side.
Left side, okay. And so what happened after the surgery?
Well, I had to lay off for a month, and then I noticed, it took a while. The nipple looked weird, and then there was an indentation that stayed minor, but it wasn't done by a plastic surgeon. It was done by, I think he did a pretty good job. Took about a month and a half to heal, and then I started training again. And that was it, I had...
No, but what happened with the other side now?
The other side the reason I didn't get both sides done is because the other side had not developed for whatever reason.
Yeah, but what happened since then? With the other?
Since then, well, you know what? It's grown. And it bothers me. If I go to the beach or something, sometimes if it's warm, it tends to kind of like, inflate in a sense or show more.
Yes.
So I'll throw a towel over on that side or whatever. And I don't like the way it looks if I wear tight shirts. Sometimes this side looks a little bigger, and I just want to get it taken care of.
Hey, can you feel a mess now?
Yeah, I play with it all the time. I mean, not in a funny way.
No, I understand. No.
You
just know that it's there.
It's irritating me. I've wanted to take a knife and cut it out. I mean, to be honest, quite honest.
No, I understand this feeling, But it's there because you felt it, and you can see it. You can see it.
Oh, absolutely.
It's noticeable. Other people can see it. You can see it. I mean,
No,
it's not
no.
your imagination. It just grew up since then.
Yes.
So you must have had also some gynecomastia when you did the left side, but probably it was smaller, and with the time it became larger. Let me ask you in general, are you in good health?
As far as I know, yes.
You have any medical problems or any allergies?
Well, medical, body-wise or mentally?
No, I'm talking about
You're talking about physically? No.
medical problem you don't have. And you don't, you smoke?
Like, cigarettes to me are like a cigar. So if I go out and have a couple drinks,
Okay.
that's like...
But you don't
no.
drink excessively,
No,
you
no,
drink
no.
socially? Well,
Absolutely.
Okay. You have any allergies to medications?
No, I'm very fortunate that way, actually.
Yeah. When do you think the first time, if you go to your childhood or adulthood, when did it start? The
This side?
gynecomastia,
Or
yeah,
this
the
side?
left side.
Well, I don't know if I should be telling you this, but I guess I will. Like,
No, it started later on in life, or
Well,
did
no.
you have it when you were like 12 or 13?
I did anabolic steroids,
Mhm.
and I don't know if I really should be telling you this, but I am. And later on, after a couple of years, it started to develop,
Yeah.
and that's the reason I don't think it was a genetic thing. I don't think I would have had it.
Okay, so then you started, and then one side that was done, and you're not so happy with the result, but and then the other side started a few years later. Means like a few years ago, you started to have gynecomastia on the other side.
Yes.
Yeah. After we're gonna examine you and see exactly what you're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah, you can see that it's unequal. It's not symmetric. Here you can feel a mass of gynecomastia tissue between your two fingers. Here you already had surgery. You have some indentation, and you see the scar was done in the right place, but you still have indentation. So it was taken, I think, partially, not completely. So therefore, if you don't take the entire gynecomastia as one mass, you take only partially, I mean, it might happen because probably it was taken piece by piece. So here they took a larger piece in the middle, they took less here and less here, and it looks like some of the gynecomastia is still there. So you can see that's a really demonstration, a good demonstration of a person that had surgery, and I don't know why it was unilateral at that time, because if you have
Meaning that
both,
it didn't both produce, that this one produced first?
No. If you have both sides, you shouldn't do one side, and after the other side, you should do them really in the same
Well, the
time.
reason I didn't is this one didn't have it at the time.
Yeah, okay. But anyway, now you
Now it's
do
getting
have. So
colder,
you
your nose
must
is
have
starting
had.
to retract.
No, you still can see it.
And
You
if
see it very
if
well.
I do it this way, you could see the nipple here.
Yeah, yeah.
And if I go this way,
Yeah,
you see how it's flat.
yeah. So that's okay. That's good.
Now I feel like also it's up in here because it's not the chest. It lays flatter here, and I remember before it laid flatter on this side before this developed.
This
No?
is not a gynecomastia. You can feel it's about this area.
Okay.
This is more some muscle, maybe a little fat, and some skin.
Now you see
But it's
here
not a
this little
gynecomastia.
bit of if I let that go, if I grow my chest a little, will that expand? This is age.
No, I mean
Why do I
this
have
is with the age. People just get it. I mean
But
that's
if I
not
build my chest
unusual.
up, will this pull out a little and
If
get
you
rid
build
of
your
it?
chest, it's going to be less than here, but everybody has some of this.
How about dropping some body fat? Would that help?
I don't know if it's going to help a lot. It's not really
I
extreme.
try to stand
You can
as tall as
see
I
it.
can to get rid of
Yeah,
it.
that's good actually. Okay.
It irritates me.